The question that has been prominent on many individuals' minds, including mine, as I've expressed in many of my previous videos, is what is the legacy of Turning Point USA? But unfortunately, many of us forgot to ask another very important question. How are the individuals running TPUSA currently compacting themselves? How have they compacted themselves in the past? And how would that affect the organization moving forward? You see, Turning Point USA has had individuals with many flawed or problematic characters, if we have to say. We have the issue where Erika Kirk was alleged to be, let's say, involved with so called allegations of child fill in the blanks from Romania with her Romanian angels with her organization that was called A Hero Like You.
From Antonio Placement, I believe that we all have angels in our lives, and these are my little angels from Antonio Placement Center in Constanța, Romania. Our goal with the Romanian Angels Project was to show these children the true American heart during the holiday season. And what better way to do that than having our United States military personally deliver the gifts?
Yeah, can you tell us? Thank you.
Yes, I can tell you. First of all, I want to say that Erika was also a victim because she was pushed in pageant without very, very young, and she just win right away. And then she worked for Trump, and Trump introduced after the Jerusalem introduced to Kirk to work for Kirk. She just was a honeypot for Charlie Kirk, and then Trump pushed her to work for Charlie Kirk. In 2012, the Erika was 23 years old, and she is already 500 million on her value, and she has several company, uh, not model company, fashion company, and other companies. And then she went in Romania with the military. I have the documentation. I'm trying to send it to you, and she works with the government, the military government, to the several very poor city in Romania, where they try to adopt and they did kidnap very young children, because there are a lot of family, like they have 7, 8, 9 kids. They were not able to feed the kids, so they offer them some money, and the parents think that okay, that kid is going to be adopted in another country and it's going to have a great future. So they just lied to them, and the kids they were taking away from them without proper documentation, proper paperwork, because they work with different prosecution and child support, whatever agency they had at that time, and they were paid. So they steal like 86,000 kids from Romania, and they send it to UK, Israel, and I don't know if other countries all over the world. They were very, and nobody knows what those kids they end up. And uh, I guess up in 2018, the government, they was different president, they kind of figured out something was going on, and they start investigating. But only few people went to jail, the very low people, the people on the low level, not the high rank things, because they get paid off. So Erica left, but actually the angel that they call angel something, it still continues still today. They still smuggle kids from Romania because, unfortunately, in a village in our country, people live very, very poor. They have no electricity, no water, no food. They have kids. They interview, did you have a pizza? And she said, I don't know what pizza it is. I only eat potato in the morning and potato at night. So the people are really starving there in my country, in the poor villages. So they take advantage of that, and they steal the kids from the parents, and the parents, they think they're gonna give her a good future for the kids. And also they did the same thing with orphanage. They work with the government, with the military government, and they make false paperwork, and they just took it out of the country illegally. So it was a big scandal in 2018, but actually they cover up somehow. Somebody else come to the power, and corruption is everywhere. So money pays everything, and this thing is still continue, unfortunately, till this day. Maybe it's not that high level, but all together in all this year, 86,000 kids they were trafficking out of Romania.
The fact checkers say it is false, but we still have a lot of individuals coming out and saying a lot of stories about this, and people are talking about it. But we have to also remember one thing. Erika Kirk was 17 years old when these things were happening.
People are saying on social media, you can see a couple of the posts here, they claim that Kirk is banned from Romania after being accused of child trafficking. Is this right? No. What are they even talking about here? Well, before Erika Kirk got married to Charlie Kirk, she founded a group called Everyday Heroes Like You. That group had a project called Romanian Angels, which partnered with the Marine Corps and orphanages in Romania. Now, to fact check these rumors about Erika Kirk and her group, we looked for news articles and crime reports about this subject from both the U.S. and Romania, and we found some stories like these. An Israeli newspaper reported on adoption agencies that were under investigation, and an outlet called Radio Free Europe reported on orphans who say they were trafficked from Romania, but neither of these stories mentioned Kirk or her organization. In fact, we found no reports implicating Kirk or her group, and there's no evidence that she's been banned from any country. All of this is why the Truth Meter rates these rumors false. Read our full fact check at WRAL.com.
When she was in Romania running her nonprofit, and it was very interesting that her mom, who worked with the military, took a 17-year-old and thought it was time for them to start an organization, and she worked. She ran and won Miss Arizona or something, which is handled by Trump, owned by Trump then. And suddenly the next minute she was running this organization, and suddenly, allegedly, she was kicked out of Romania for involvement in certain things. When I did her deep dive, I looked into these allegations and some of the problems allocated with proving whether they are wrong or right. If you would like to look at that, please go check out the video, and I will link them in the description below. Now, another person is coming under fire, and that is Tyler Bowyer. From individuals who have done a lot of deep dives into the financials of Turning Point USA and seen so many unscrupulous things, we are starting to see a different picture of the man Tyler Bowyer and the finances of Turning Point USA in general. There is this interview I watched on the Redacted podcast, and they interviewed this guy named Brian Ferentz. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrongly. And he's an investigative journalist, and he had a lot of things that were very eyebrow-raising regarding Tyler Bowyer, Turning Point USA, and all his activities. I encourage you to go and watch it because it is very eye-opening when it comes to Tyler Bowyer.
Because they smell something funny going on here, and they want answers. They want answers about Charlie's death. They want answers about the money, where it was going, where it was coming from, all of that. Journalist Brian Ferentz is back on the show, and it's great to have you back, Brian. Thank you. Man, you've really ruffled some feathers.
You're killing it, guy.
Over there,
I love
man.
it.
Trying to get answers about where all this money is going. Like, people don't want to, Brian, don't ask these questions. Like, you're digging in too deep here. When did you start smelling a rat?
Thanks, Clayton and Natalie, again, for having me on the show. In terms of, when did I start smelling a rat? I think it really goes back to when Tyler Bowyer, he was running the Arizona State Party annual meeting. I'm an elected state committeeman as well. And at that point, there was objections over electing the now AZ GOP chairwoman Gina Swoboda regarding her eligibility because she moved districts. And Tyler Bowyer at the time was backing her, so he pushed that through. He just lied to everyone, like 1,000 people on stage, pushed it through. He was later recorded in the lobby admitting that he lied. And then in less than a year, he turned around and is, staging a coup against the same chairwoman, Gina Swoboda, that he endorsed less than a year ago. So that raised some questions, along with pushing really the ballot chasing and targeting of low propensity Republican voters, which if you're doing mail-in ballots, that often results in historic losses for Republicans. It's a bad strategy. They don't do anything on election integrity. They don't want to end the machines because they make all their money from bread and butter. So that's really when I smelled a rat, started looking into Tyler Bowyer, Turning Point USA, and what they were doing. In regards to this post from current donors, there's just a couple quotes that I'll read. Basically, one of them is saying they've been a TPUSA donor for years. They love Charlie Kirk. But this immediately moving on after Charlie Kirk's assassination without questioning any of the obvious anomalies surrounding his death. We need to seek truth about what happened on that horrific day and seek real justice for Charlie. And some of these are very large donors. Some of them are very small donors. But one of them said, agreed, I've stopped my donations. I'm not huge, but $25,000 a year is $25,000 a year. And then another one said, I donate every year to TPUSA. I too am halting my donations until I see the Doge audit completed and a change in your culture.
Wow.
Was this a deliverable for donors? What Charlie's wish for the audit? Because when I first saw it, it broke after his death, in the immediate aftermath. And I figured that it had to do with outlays, with expenditures. Where's all the money going? But now we see how often he was losing donors. So there has to be also questions about inlays, not just outlays. And so do you think that, his donors were ever supposed to see this audit?
Well, that's a good question, and let me address a couple of things there. So I've written, again, on my X profile at Brian Ferentz 1, you can follow me, or brianferentz.com, but I've written a few things questioning these donors and some of the financial practices, because basically what Turning Point USA does is they're a 501c3, and if you look at where some of their funds have come from, they've had very large donations from other organizations, NGOs typically, which received USAID funding. Oh. So there was a post and they dispute, we never received any USAID funding. Well, not directly, but you were one donation away from these NGOs that received millions or hundreds.
And also, there is this guy who did a bombshell talking about the Turning Point USA commit certain atrocities, and the name of his channel is Wolves and Finance. I will link them all below, and I will play a little clip from his video. He has done 2 interesting videos about the finances of Turning Point USA.
All this money. But what is even more important is if you go to the other shell company, Turning Point Action, in FY 2024, their #1 independent contractor is a company called 110 LLC. In fact, this has been one of their largest contractors for the last 3 years. These are all the payments, and they total $1,456,261 over the last 3 years. That's almost $1.5 million. The description they provide is social, digital media, ad placement. Now, there is also an address for this company. So I thought, let's take a trip and go check this company out. If Turning Point is paying them $1.5 million, they must be doing something really great.
I am on location in Queen Creek, Arizona. And if you don't know, Queen Creek is a suburb of Phoenix. So I'm at the address that was listed on the 990 form. And this is strange. This is a strip mall. So I'm going to get out. I'm going to take a walk around and see if I can find the business 110 LLC. Okay. I've walked past all the suites. I've checked all the doors. The business 110 LLC, as far as I can tell, is not here. what is going on? So Turning Point is putting on their IRS form that they are sending $1.5 million to this parking lot. Well, I'm sitting here in the parking lot. The business is not here as far as I can tell. What is going on? I mean, maybe they didn't think that anyone was going to actually drive out here and check it out. But as far as I can tell, the business is not here. So my question is, do the Turning Point donors know this is how their money is being spent? That Turning Point is writing on their IRS forms that they're sending $1.5 million to this parking lot.
I did some additional checking. Another thing that is strange is that there is no website for 110 LLC. How do you run a business without a website? That's pretty strange. And I thought, maybe they moved. Maybe there's a different location. But if you look it up on Google Maps, there is no location for 110 LLC. So there's no website, there's no location. Does this company actually exist? Well, we do have records that it is owned by someone named Jake Hoffman, who is actually the former communications director for Turning Point USA. He is now a Republican state senator in Arizona. Now, just to give you some context, Jake Hoffman is a really powerful person in Arizona, which may be why no one has talked about this before. In his financial disclosure statement, he lists that he is the owner of 110 LLC at the same address in Queen Creek. What is also curious is that on the financial disclosure form, he lists out 8 different businesses that are all operating out of that same strip mall. But what is even more strange is that on the financial disclosure form, he actually lists out the suite numbers. He claims that he is operating his business out of suites 105 to 503. Excuse me? That is every suite in the strip mall. How does that make sense? Is he operating out of the grocery store? Is he operating out of Panda Express? Is he operating his business out of the pet dental clinic? Now, if you watch my channel, you can tell that I'm a conservative. But I do not have a problem calling out a Republican if I see something that looks shady.
It's very strange. And there is another guy who has done an interview with someone who is like an auditor. That is Didi got a podcast. I really watched. It was like 2 hours of that video. That was last week, I think. He posted that video on his channel. And Didi got a podcast, had this extensive interview, and it was very interesting to hear what the auditor had to say. There were some of the things on the video which were later on said not to be true, but most of the things that were said in that podcast still stand true, or at least allegedly still hold true, according to the way the finances are looking. According to those particular individual, that particular individual, he was able to decipher that the finances of Turning Point USA are not looking good. Allegedly, Charlie Kirk as well as Tyler Bowyer were having 4 salaries from 4 different sites. Like Turning Point USA was divided into shell companies, which would pay them individually, and so their finances did not look so exorbitant when you look just at the Turning Point registry or sheets, but when you look at the entire scope of it, you see now that they were taking home some exorbitant money. I have watched so many individuals who are talking about these finances of Turning Point USA, and from the standpoint of many individuals, Charlie Kirk knew what was going on. He participated in it, if not all of it or some of it, and on the standpoint of others, he was unaware. He was like an innocent bystander and someone who was very ignorant of what his organization was participating in. I watched this girl who posted a video on TikTok and it went viral. She was talking about her experience working for Turning Point USA, and she had pictures of it. And the reason I brought her up is not like she actually made specific allegations which you can point to, because she said she cannot talk because of non-disclosure agreements they signed, which she has not been able to get out of under. So she cannot say a lot. But she said there were a lot of things that happened while she worked there, things that disgusted her so much that she left the organization. Many people are doubting her, some are believing her. But one thing of everything she said that stuck with me and which made sense when it comes to the way Turning Point USA seemed, because in the last days before Charlie Kirk, what happened to him, he requested a Doge style audit. And that audit, he never got to get that audit before what happened to him, which is very interesting. Then this girl said he was very big into delegation of power. He was delegating a lot to a lot of individuals, and that stuck to me because if he was this guy who liked delegating a lot of power to other individuals to run the organization, then it would make sense that probably he might not have been aware of some of the things that were happening in his organization as he would have loved to.
Try my best here to get through as many things as possible. If you're watching this, chances are you saw my last one. My name is Amanda. I am a former donor relations officer for Turning Point USA. I worked for Turning Point and Charlie for 4 years. There are some things I wanted to touch on. Charlie. He was incredible at what he did because he was able to do it without having the distraction of the business. He delegated a lot. And there were some things that were definitely going on that I do not believe that he knew about. You've probably noticed there aren't a lot of Turning Point employees coming on the internet and talking about it. It's insane. The fear and just... There are so many of us who have so many stories and so many things to say, but they make you sign everything and anything under the sun. That is why I was so vague. A lot of people were talking about, well, just say what you have to say. Why are you talking like that? Because I can't. I cannot. They are not above suing someone for a video that gets whatever views on TikTok. I was not fired. That was another one that people said a lot. Oh, she had to have been fired. I left on very reasonable terms. After seeing what I saw and knowing what I knew, I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't be there in that environment with the people who were just... Ugh. Some people wanted proof that I worked there. I dropped the other two on the floor, but staff badges at the yin yang, and I can put some pictures if that does any justice. But I just want everybody to know who's on this side of TikTok, if you're going down a rabbit hole, just do yourself a favor and don't.
And if that was just it, we could have left it to speculations and misunderstandings of documentations, which some people might not understand. But we have to reiterate here, the individuals looking into this documentation and talking about it are people who are in finance. But these individuals have been able to, they have worked in the profession as auditors, as people who work in finances, looking at finances of companies, and they were able to decipher all of these problems. And if they were able to catch so many issues with these documentations, with these finances of Turning Point USA, there is a lot that is going on because these are documents Turning Point USA itself put out there. It's not like something they discovered or uncovered from the secret sides of it. And there was something that was very interesting about the guy, the auditor who had the interview with Diddy Got a Podcast. He said one very intriguing thing to him that he noticed was that when Charlie Kirk formed TPUSA, it was not much of a faith-based organization, but it has become faith-based, and he doesn't understand how when you read the memorandum of, how do they call those things? The memorandum of these documents when you use to start a company, nothing there is about religion, nothing there, it's all about how to serve improvement and things like that. So it was interesting to him. And I remembered now that Candace Owens had mentioned that when did they start doing everything faith? When she made that observation, I was wondering, why is she worried about if it's faith-based? I just thought that Turning Point USA is an organization that has different sectors. I thought so. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Please correct me in the comment section. I thought it was an organization that had different sections, like the section that is for faith, another one that is for youth, another is for parents. and then maybe the main organization. I am not sure. And it's very interesting to me that an organization that is so faith-based is also so politically involved, because Erika Kirk talks so much about faith and all of that thing. And then the next minute she's sitting on a podcast with Megyn Kelly or someone else talking about endorsing Vance in 2028 or talking about politics and things like that. Forgive me if I'm wrong and permit me if I'm wrong, but I used to think that people who were much more into faith and things like that stayed a little bit away from politics, especially openly. Yeah, I'm not saying they will not have someone they prefer to vote for or they think will be excellent in leading their constituent, their city, their country, but I always thought they will be less politically overt. It will be something they talk about inside the house, not something they go about campaigning, especially using an organization which they created to campaign for it. Because Turning Point USA is like an organization that is campaigning for candidates. TPUSA basically was the greatest force in campaigning for Trump, according to what we have been able to see. So I'm very surprised that it is something that Erika talks 1 minute of faith. This was the same thing with Charlie. 1 minute they're talking so much about faith, the next minute they're out here campaigning like political parties. If I am wrong about that, let me know in the comment section. But for me, I found that very interesting. So when Candace Owens had mentioned that when did TPUSA become so much about faith, I was, that's an eyebrow-raising issue. But I thought maybe they diverted their attention depending on each section. That notwithstanding. But what got me really thinking is when I watched the podcast with Didi Got a Podcast, and the guy there, the interviewee said, the document that talks about the forming of the organization has nothing about faith, has nothing about religion. That was concerning and interesting, to say the least. Now, if that was just about documentation and things like that, we could say, well, maybe we are not understanding exactly what's going on and all of that. But there is more to this. Turning Point USA is allegedly like some kind of Catholic Church organization that covers up its predators and tries to act as if nothing happened. We have so many more cases, and there is one that is currently going viral about a woman in, I think it's Arizona. So this one happened in 2025, an Arizona lawsuit, where TPUSA linked staffer alleged to have propositioned a man and separately in the filing been involved in taking his teenage daughter, 14-year-old daughter. What is alleged is this: a newly filed lawsuit, November 2025, reporting claims an Arizona official who attended a TPUSA post-election event propositioned a man for sex, offered him a TPUSA job in exchange, and later the suit claims took his 14-year-old daughter when he refused. God damn, TP. This is reported as a civil lawsuit. Allegations in the filing, criminal charges, are not reported as of those in the articles. Now, that is not the only case. We have cases right from 2020s coming down. We have another case in 2024. We have an assault by 2 TPUSA members on an Arizona professor. Video evidence diversion agreements. So what is alleged is that a video of an October 2023 campus confrontation led to misdemeanor charges against 2 people associated with TPUSA. According to reporting, both later entered diversion agreements and admitted wrongdoing as part of the process. The incident involved harassment and physical assault of an LGBTQ professor. Another allegation is allegations tied to TPUSA Students Action Summit. Reports of sexual harassment, assault, and at events, that is between 2017 and 2018 reporting. What is alleged is that multiple outlets reported that some students who attended TPUSA Students Action Summit of December 2017 and related events later described incidents of sexual harassment and misconduct at after-hours parties connected with the conferences. These were reported as survivors' accounts and press reports at the time. Coverage focused on accusations about what culture and how the organization handled or failed to handle these complaints. 2023 TPUSA event partnerships criticized for ties to an organization founded by a registered ex-offender. What is alleged? Reportings flagged that TPUSA partnered with and hosted events connected to groups founded by a person with sex offender registration, prompting criticism about vetting and standards. The Christmas season is going off. Sorry if you hear that. That's just the festivities. All right, we can't be talking about serious things like this and we're having festivities blowing outside there. Okay, let's get back to it. Now, so this it prompted problems about vetting and standards. So this is about partnering decision and not an internal staff assault allegation. But now let's go to another thing that involved an internal staff allegation, an allegation of internal suppression, cover-up, reported by independent investigator, bloggers, claimed about senior staff suppressing complaints. And I have to remind you, some of the suppression has to do with Tyler Bowyer. What is alleged? An independent investigator, journalist, Brian Flores, remember the Brian Flores I mentioned before, who had an interview with the redacted YouTube channel. And some social posts have alleged that TPUSA senior staff named in those posts as a COO executive suppressed or tried to bury reports of sexual assault by an employee. These claims are spelled out in online posts, articles, and social media threads, but as of the sources we found, have been fully substantiated in many national outlets, and the TP representatives have denied similar accusation in public responses because there are serious claims, primarily coming from investigative bloggers and social posts. They have been treated as allegations, pending independent collaborations or official findings. Guys, I don't know what's going on here. This is crazy. And now this is why there is a lot of heat coming on Tyler Bowyer, who is the COO of Turning Point Action, an affiliate of Turning Point USA. Remember I said there are different affiliates of Turning Point. They have Turning Point student, Turning Point. They have so many Turning Points. It's unbelievable. I did not know that. The first time I realized it was when Erika Kirk was giving her speech the first 48 hours after her husband's, when she was talking about parents should join the Turning Point parents, whatever that is, students should join Turning Point students. That's when I started realizing that the organization is split into several affiliates. Now, the sources here are mostly independent journalists, researchers, and blogs. But here are well documented all the things that have happened. According to one long article by an independent journalist, when a prominent Turning Point Action employee named Matthew Martinez was accused of sexual assault by another employee, Bowyer allegedly led the internal investigation or oversight of it and allegedly downplayed the severity. The report quotes the victim saying Bowyer told her the assault wasn't that bad and she should just forget it. Damn! When I was watching the video of which the guy who did the investigation, the Wolves and Finance guy, he said, when you go and look up Tyler Bowyer's house, the man is living larger than the way a man of his employment status should be living, according to him. I don't know it. I don't know how CEOs of affiliate campaign or affiliates like Turning Point Action should be paid. But according to the guy knows his work, he knows finances, okay? And he looked through the finances, looked at Tyler Bowyer's house and he said, sir, so it's showing that Tyler Bowyer is not only snapping money allegedly from Turning Point pockets, he is also covering up for assaults, telling a victim It's not that bad. The article further alleges that after the assault, Bowyer scheduled Martinez and the victim to be alone in the office, even though they claimed there were already an investigation underway, which, if true, would be extremely irresponsible and inconsistent with a serious harassment response. Because how can you put a victim with their predator in the same room? What are you thinking? That there is supposed to, when you put someone like that, there are going to be two things. Either the predator is going to beg the victim not to expose them, promise them things using others. There's always going to be coercion there. If you put two people like that, they will use either manipulation, guilt, or even threats to make sure that thing is buried. So why would you put a victim with someone who is like, seriously? Tyler, damn, that is crazy. They say Bowyer and Martinez were personal friends. Reportedly, they socialized together frequently, meals, drinks, travels, which critics argue show a conflict of interest when Bowyer was supposed to be impartially investigating Martinez. First of all, I don't know why Tyler Bowyer involved himself in a case involving his friend and an employee. You're supposed to let an independent, but what am I talking about? According to the way the reports about this organization are going, Turning Point USB, wow, my English is finished. Turning Point USB, why am I saying USB? What's wrong with my mouth? Turning Point USA has been a mess for a while. They have been going about doing crazy things. When the victim attempted to speak publicly or share details, Bowyer or Turning Point Actions Council reportedly evoked a confidentiality agreement, non-disclosure agreement, NDA, threatening legal action if the victim kept disclosing the case. You remember the girl I just told you that spoke on TikTok? And her video has been going viral on X and other places. People are talking about it, looking at it, and saying that she has not revealed anything. But she said in her follow-up video, she can't reveal anything because she signed NDAs. That the amount of NDAs you sign with that company is not the type that you play with. And I'm asking myself, people are running a church organization. It's always the ones who are claiming to be Christians who will be committing crimes and hiding them. It is always those ones, yes. So Turning Point USA, Tyler Bowyer is running it the way priests are running, some priests are running some Catholic churches. When the priest commits a crime, they send them to another region or they cover it up. That's what Tyler Bowyer is doing. This girl who posted a video on TikTok said it, that a lot of NDAs are made so that you don't say a word. The complaint also alleges that Bowyer dismissed the assault by claiming it took place outside of the office and off hours. It doesn't matter what hour it took place. Is it an employee of Turning Point? Yes. Even though, as the accuser claims, the work relationship and context involving work travel, after hours work, makes it plausible within employment context. So if they were traveling and they were on on something that has to do with Turning Point USA, even if it's after 4 p.m., you are on a work trip, maybe in a different town. How is that away from work? And even if it is away from work, and you are the CEO of a company and you discover that your friend or acquaintance has allegedly assaulted someone, your response is that it was after hours. My God, these people, it's always the ones who are claiming church organization. It's always them. On top of that, per the same reporting, former staffers claim there was no meaningful organization-wide policy for handling extra misconduct claims, when at least one staffer attempted to pressure leadership to adopt clear harassment assault protocols. Bowyer reported rejected that, saying we'll cross the bridge when we get there. Because of course he doesn't. He wants there to be a lose-lose situation so that when he gets there, he can cut corners without any strict rule holding him to put whoever it will be who committed, because he already knows that it will be either him or one of his friends, allegedly, who will do things like that. That's why he doesn't have a problem making sure that the person doesn't say a word later. When they get there, they will do it. On summary phrases from the journalist piece, Bowyer gaslighted the victim, minimized the assault, and also use institutional mechanisms, including investigation handling NDAs and threats in ways to critique, deem, cover up. But of course, that was cover up. If someone is facing something like that, you come and say it was not that bad. The next minute you say, oh, it was after office hours, after you give them NDAs and things to sign to stop talking, then definitely. So this is something that it is very disturbing when it comes to Turning Point. And Erika Kirk is out here telling us that Charlie Kirk wrote a book, that he started writing the book last 1 year and a half ago, and he finished that book in June, or was it July? And just 2 months later, in September 10th, his life ended, and she wants to publish the book. This girl is supposed to have been worth millions, in fact, almost to hundreds of millions before ever marrying Charlie Kirk. She's from a rich family. The mother worked with the government and military something. Candace Owens military industrial complex, allegedly, in quotes. And so I don't understand how she's constantly asking people to contribute. Now she wants to publish a book Charlie Kirk allegedly wrote. There is something Candace Owens wrote, which I think many of you will be very surprised that I'm going to agree with her on this. But please, I will not agree with everything in this tweet, but please, there is something here that I agree with. She said, I received information last night that put the final pieces together for me. I now can say with full confidence that I believe Charlie Kirk was betrayed by the leadership of Turning Point USA and some of the very people who eulogized him on stage. Yes, I will be naming names and providing evidence for my claims. And I am making a personal plea to every well-meaning person who donated to this godforsaken organization to request a refund. You were lied to and leadership knew. Candy baby, Candy baby, tell me. Unfortunately, from what I heard from most of her fans, I was watching a few of her fans who were talking that she did not really deliver what they were expecting, that the delivery was underwhelming according to their expectation. But from what I've heard, Candace Owens has even asked Erika Kirk to come forward and come and talk, tell her about a certain phone call, and also Turning Point USA has accepted a challenge by Candice Baby for them to have a live question me, I question you, debunk me, I debunk you, question me, I question you, debunk me, I debunk you, review me, I review you, ask me question, I debunk the question. That kind of live thing. And Candice always say yes. According to her, she said she doesn't even want them to schedule it. She doesn't want them to leave it for 2 minutes. She wants them to do it tomorrow because she does not have time. She wants to be authentic, in quotes, authentic. Okay? This is the kind of thing that we are here for, because this is what I'm saying. I have said this before. Candace Owens, sketchy as hell. But one other thing that we can be honest about, Turning Point USA, there are sketchy things about Turning Point USA as well. Because we have Tyler Bowyer out here escaping allegations of extra by his employees and trying to cover them up. We have a lady out here who did not only proposition a male who came to work a little bit with Turning Point. She told him, hey, come sleep with me and I give you a job. And when the man refused, the woman carried her drunk self, went and carried that man's daughter and disappeared with her until 2 a.m. when he went and recovered his daughter. Like, seriously, what's going on with Turning Point USA? What's going on there? And there are so many sketchy things about their alleged finances. The finances are all sketchy. Everybody is just, nothing is adding up. People are just making themselves billionaires. When I was watching the one with Diddy Got a Podcast, I heard only the amount they were using for just flights, their premium flights. Wow. I see now why Candace always is pissed. Candace always wanted to be part of that situation, having some of that thing. And then she told them that we were supposed to be in the group chat now looking for a solution. You people just ignored me and you people are living a vida loca from my friend's money, alleged friend's money. Anyway, I cannot wait to see if they will have that battle go live to you. You debunk me, I debunk you. You chat me, I question you, you question me. Let's see if they'll do it. My bet is that it will never happen. One, both sides don't want each other exposing a couple of things about each other. Both sides are sketchy. Yes, I know that Candace is onto something when it comes to Turning Point USA. And some people there And she has gone this rampage when she has just been cruising and clearing everybody along her street. But then, Candace Owens, her own life is not that clean too. So she too, she knows. That's why she and Erika have been doing this dodgy game. You dodge me, I dodge you. She's finally calling Erika's name and talking to Erika. I want you to explain that as a CEO and all of that. But girl, we will see. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think this thing will happen? This face me, I face you will happen. This debate me, I debate you will happen. This debunk me, I debunk you will happen. And let me know, did you know all of this about Turning Point USA? Because the more I research into Turning Point USA, the more I see a lot of research people are doing into Turning Point USA, I'm getting worried because these actual allegations I'm telling you guys about now, this is not the first time I'm hearing about it. Some people had commented under my comment section about it, and I said I had no idea. And I said I will look into it. And when I looked into it, I was so shocked at what I saw. I told myself maybe I looked into the wrong places. I was not seeing well because I was seeing Erika's past was already looking sketchy. And they were telling me so many wrong things about it. And even though the fact checkers say allegedly is false, but can you people, how do you know it's false? Because no article was written about it, or because you can't, I need you to go to the Romanian government and find out if they have kicked her out or not. And there are things that we need to look into very seriously. You cannot just say fact checker because an article was not written about something. But also it's possible that all of this is fake news. People make it up, but this is my problem. Erika Kirk was 17 years old when she was invited. She was not interested in beauty pageant. She was invited to participate in Miss Arizona. She went into the beauty pageant thing. Pap, she won. Do you know how many years beauty pageant struggled to get even one crown? After she won, she left it alone. She did not do more beauty pageant things. She went into the organization, running her NGO, 17. And she was linked to Trump. And there is something I need to let you guys in on now. You remember when I did Erika Kirk's biography? I said I saw a video where Charlie Kirk was saying that Tyler and his Tyler Bowyer, the COO, who brought Erika Kirk to him and told him to interview her for a job position, where he then looked at her, one stare into her eyes, and he said, I will not employ you. I want to marry you or date you, one of those. So Tyler Bowyer brought Erika to Charlie Kirk. And we've heard this video where this woman is talking about Erika Kirk was a honeypot to Charlie Kirk. It's alleged. Everything is alleged. Please, if I've not mentioned it before, everything in this video is alleged. I cover my entire channel with the blood of alleged. Even my name is allegedly Nemo. Let's move on. So, if Tyler Bowyer brought Erika in, Tyler Bowyer needs to explain to us. Please, Candace, question 1. When Tyler Bowyer, how did Tyler Bowyer know Erika Kirk before ever introducing her to Charlie Kirk? We would like to have that background. You know, background is important in every story. We would like to have the background of that. And question 2, that old man who helped Charlie Kirk to start Turning Point USA, what was the relationship with them? We need to know some foundation and basis before we can come now to the current investigation, because if we have those background, we link them and tie them together, and then we need to also ask another question. How long has Erika Kirk known Donald Trump? We need to know from what age, because allegedly her parents have had contracts with the Trump Tower, with Donald Trump and things like that. We need to know how far that relationship is, because it helps us. It helps. I'm not saying that anything is wrong. Please don't get me wrong. It's just going to help us to understand the background of these people. And when you understand the background of these people, it will help us in understanding how we can tie everything together. You see? Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming with me through this interesting discovery. Until next time. Bye.